answering a frequently asked question, and I figured we can catch up on some other stuff too in this episode of the ASMR podcast. I do want to start doing more episodes regularly again, because I think I've been kind of doing them just sporadically lately, but I find myself missing these conversations with you. So I'm kind of going off the top of my head today, because typically I have my notes in my laptop, because I'm using my phone to record, so I can't look there. But bad news, my laptop is no longer with us. It's been a good run. I've had it for almost 4 years, and it was a gift, so I really appreciate having that for all of those years, because it really helped me with my various endeavors. But now I have had to, for the first time I think ever, purchase my own laptop, and now I'm just waiting for it to come. By the time you see this, I will hopefully already have it, because I will have used my laptop to edit this very video that you're watching right now. So that's exciting, and yeah, I think that'll be fun, even though it's sad. It's also exciting, bittersweet, you know. An ending is always a new beginning. So yeah, today I will be winging it. So forgive me if I seem a little scattered. Also, tell me what you think of this setup. This is a new angle of my room that I've never done a video in, because it's backlit, as you can see. For some reason, the lighting actually looks better with that open back there than it did with it closed, so you'll just have to trust me. Just trust me. I guess I could block it, but whatever. But yeah, this is my little shelf, my little YouTube plug, and my mug that my sister brought me from Paris last year. Right there. And my books that I've been reading, and my journals, and my gratitude book. And then this thing, I like to print out things and put it on there. And this is my plant, Angel. That is my other plant, Pumpkin. I named it Pumpkin, I think because I was craving pumpkin a lot last week, and I just got this plant. But yeah, have been feeling so good lately, which I'm very happy about because I go through phases where I kind of feel horrible for a little while. It's part of my, I guess you could say, spiritual journey, or my healing journey, or just life. I have found that as you grow, you get to these different checkpoints where you kind of have to face some sort of psychological issue before you can proceed. And once you are committed to that journey, you don't really have another choice. You kind of have to face whatever you're dealing with head on. So I do, but it is still very painful. So I'm happy that at least that segment of that is over right now. So I'm back to feeling amazing and wonderful. So thank you for being here to enjoy it with me. So today I thought it could be fun to talk about what my type is in men specifically, because I am bisexual, but my type is different for men and women, I think. So today we will be focusing on my type in men, because that's a question that I get sometimes. And if you want to know my type in women, you can let me know and I will maybe address that in a future video. And I want to know what your type in men or women or whatever is. I'm just curious, because we all have different preferences, and I would find it interesting to know what you look for in a romantic partner, or even your just type of people that you like to connect with. So if you want to share, please let me know in a comment and I will read it. I promise. So, what is my type in a man? I'm kind of going off the top of my head here because, again, I don't have my notes on my laptop. So, my type in a man, or I guess rather what I look for in a man, is somebody who is very stable, like they are mentally stable, because I don't really like it when people are erratic and very emotional in big ways. Obviously, I want them to have the normal range of emotion. I don't want somebody who is repressed or afraid to, show emotion or cry or even show positive emotions. I like that. But there are sometimes people who they don't have emotions. Their emotions have them, and they kind of can be really scary to be around because they're just like unpredictable. And I like somebody who's very consistent and I know what to expect. Connected to that would be, I like it when people are straightforward and they're not playing games. So, if they feel some type of way, they tell me, and they're not going to be trying to manipulate me into having whatever reaction that they prefer. They'll just tell me, and that way we can be on the same page. I also like people who are funny and people who think I'm funny. And the reason I say that is because I have experienced people who they do not understand my sense of humor, and I find it really hard to connect with people like that because I don't need somebody to laugh at everything I say. I don't make jokes constantly, but sometimes I say things and I'm meaning them to be ironic or even just sometimes I think weird random things are funny, and I kind of just hate it when the other person just stares at me blankly. Like, I don't know, I hate that. So, I like people who like to laugh and make me laugh, and who just like to have fun. And also, I like people who do things, like they get out of the house and they're good with people, because I'm kind of not good with that sometimes, and so I like being around somebody who kind of pulls me out into the world, but in a gentle way. I don't like it when people just put me in uncomfortable situations that I did not want to be in. I like it when they understand my needs, but they also kind of help me push my comfort zone, so that I can have new experiences, and they'll help me through those new experiences. Like they'll notice if I'm struggling and kind of like help me out, Don't get me wrong, I can hold my own, but it's more of an internal thing where I just feel like overstimulated sometimes. But yeah, but speaking of gentle, I really like gentle guys. Like, that's why I love ASMR guys, like guys that do ASMR, because I don't know, I think sometimes that's something you don't see a lot in this day and age. Like guys doing that, just personal attention, being very gentle and attentive and attuned. I feel like in our day and age, a lot of guys think that the cool thing to do is be nonchalant, and they literally train themselves to not be attuned. So they they'll avoid eye contact and avoid that intimacy and avoid showing that attentiveness to another person, because I guess it's like a tactic that they use to try to seem more desirable, is to act like they don't care. But for me, I love when somebody is willing to, when they're present with you, they're able to be present and just fully be there with you and look at you. And if you are romantic, then they're able to, actually like touch you in a very innocent and wholesome way with love and care. And I think that is probably one of the most attractive things that a man can do, and it's very masculine in my opinion. But I think also a lot of people are afraid of intimacy, so they don't like to do that. But for me, I think it's really nice. But obviously it depends on the situation. Like, you kind of need to work your way up to that level. You can't just do that with anybody, because that would be creepy, But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. Oh yeah, I like it when they have ambition and they are trying to build a better life. It doesn't really matter what level that it's at, as long as they have ideals that are bigger than themselves. They have goals that are higher than where they currently are, and they are every single day thinking about how their daily actions are either going towards what they want or going away from it, and they are making an effort to go towards where they want to go. Oh yeah, and another big one is integrity. So integrity, I'm sure you know, but I'll just say it. Integrity is when your actions match what you say and what your morals are. Everybody has different values and morals. People who are religious would have a completely different set of morals than me, and that's okay. Everybody has their own set that a lot of people might get from their parents, from a religion, but ideally they evolve as you live and experience things, and you figure out what you really believe is right and what you really believe is wrong. And then once you know that for yourself, you live by that. So if you believe it's wrong to, let's say, steal, then it would be out of integrity for you to steal. If you believe that lying is wrong and you lie, that would be out of integrity. Unfortunately, I do think that a lot of people never really establish their own values, and they just kind of live based off of maybe religion or societal kind of rough outline of what's right and wrong. And because they don't have their own personal values, it makes it very distant to them. So like, they might agree that stealing is wrong in theory, but that's not really their own value, and so they might steal all the time, or they might steal once in a while if they think nobody will notice. But that's out of integrity for them if
they believe that stealing is wrong and they still steal. And that's why I think it's very important to figure out what your values are, because as long as you're not hurting anyone, you can do whatever you want, but you should make sure that that's actually what you believe is right first. And if you're going based off of somebody else's moral code, there's a huge chance that you're not going to care about living up to it, because it's not even accurate to you on the deepest level. But that takes time, and I'm 25, so I feel like a lot of my peers haven't quite gotten there yet, and that's okay. You know, some people never do, but it really drives me crazy when somebody pretends to have a certain moral code, but their actions are very, very different. And it's like, that's fine if that's what you believe is right, but it's not what you believe is right. You believe something else is right, but you're doing the opposite. Like, I don't know. Let me know if that bothers you too. And that's what causes cognitive dissonance, which is what makes people go crazy, because they believe that certain things are wrong, but they still do them, instead of taking the time to go deeper and discover the root of whether they actually believe that thing is right or wrong. But yeah, I'm not trying to go off on a whole tangent, but it just is an interesting topic to think about, because a lot of people believe that certain things are right or wrong, but they don't even question why they think that. They just think it based off of what they've been told, and they accept it as fact without checking to see if it matches how their heart feels. But yeah, integrity is so important for any type of relationship, whether it be romantic, platonic, business, because if that person is not living in alignment with any sort of moral code, then they're a lot more likely to betray you, because they're living in a state of cognitive dissonance where routinely they're doing the things that they say are wrong, and this creates this kind of split in who they are, where they're lying to themselves about who they really are, which makes it a lot easier for them to hurt the people that they care about. So yeah, basically I'm looking for a person who is integrated. The things that they do in private are the same things that they would, admit to doing. Like they're living by what they say they believe in, and they have integrity. I think that's the most attractive person, or the most attractive thing that a person can embody, because you can't fake it. After a certain amount of time spending time with somebody, it will become very clear whether that person is living in integrity or not. And again, it's not always going to look the same, because everybody has different values, especially if they've actually done the soul searching to get there, and if they're living by their own code and not somebody else's pre-made one. But yeah, so let me think about what I have not covered. another thing that I like is I like men who are intelligent. And yeah, I think it's important that they are intelligent, especially if they are intelligent about things that are different than what I'm intelligent about, because I think it's really stimulating to kind of have that meeting of the minds where you can show up with whatever stuff you know and they show up with whatever stuff they know, and it keeps the connection stimulating, and it helps you to see things from new perspectives that you might never have thought about.
And in that way, I do like people who are very logical.
Not overly logical, where they're like cynical about everything, because I have a lot of spiritual beliefs, and people who are like cynical to the point of ridiculing me, I don't like them, obviously, but I like people who are logical and grounded, and they live in reality, but they're also open-minded to when I might have a kind of weird or out there perspective.
Another thing is that I need them to be comfortable having deeper conversations.
While I do want them to be playful and fun, I also want them to be capable of talking about serious topics, because I have known people where they are very fun, but they are always just surface level, and I love people like that, but it's not a good match for a romantic partner, because I think I would be bored and they would be probably also bored because they don't like the things I'm talking about either. Also, another one would be I really like reliable people.
Reliable and competent.
Which, similar to consistent, I like them to do things correctly, and they don't have to be perfect, obviously. I'm not perfect, I make a lot of mistakes, but I don't like it when people consistently just are flaky and they do huge mess ups routinely. Like, you know, the type of people that they'll forget their passport when they're going on a trip, but every time, or they'll just show up 30 minutes late, an hour late every time, and I just feel like people like that are not very considerate, and you know, I guess it's okay for a friend, a distant acquaintance, but when people like that are close to me in my life, a lot of resentment builds, because I tell them that it bothers me, but it's kind of core to who they are, apparently, because it keeps happening, and so it's at that point, it's just, I have all this anger, and there's no resolution, and that's really difficult to feel about somebody that you care about.
So I would like somebody who's just considerate already, and isn't a hot mess always, you know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that is really standing out to me as far as what I like in a man.
I think I kind of covered the main ones, and obviously no person is perfect. Everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, and sometimes when you meet the right person, you can be flexible in certain things or you can make compromises. But I think a lot of those kind of qualities that I mentioned are just, they're very important, to me anyways. But everybody has different needs.
And I am curious as to what your needs are as far as what you look for in a partner. So yeah, let me know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, another one is I need them to be extremely honest. Like, I kind of love people who they just say whatever they're thinking. I don't even mind if they accidentally are rude sometimes.
Obviously not if they're like bullying me, but sometimes with people like that, they say whatever they're thinking, and sometimes it can come off like a little like, oh.
But I love that. Like, that is what makes me feel safe, is if I feel like the person is being super genuine, then I feel safe because I know like where we stand, and I feel like, it can be a two-way street. Like, I can tell them whatever I'm thinking and they will tell me whatever they're thinking back. So it's not this whole complicated guessing game. And yeah, with people like that, I feel like you get to the bottom of things really quickly, because if you tell them like, hey, that thing you did, it made me feel this way, they'll just explain themselves clearly without trying to like maneuver the situation to get some sort of thing that they want.
Like, I really don't like it when people are super manipulative. I like it when people are just direct, because I want them to get what they want, but I also want to get what I want. So like, that's why it's good to just talk about how you feel, and you can come to a solution that works for both people. When people are trying to manipulate, they are bypassing that possibility because they're afraid of conflict, or they just want to make the situation work out for themselves only. And it just makes things really exhausting to deal with. That's what I like. Oh yeah, and I like it when people are open-minded and they're not like misogynistic or racist or any sort of thing, and like, you'd think that that would be obvious, but I've run into some people that they're like that, and it's kind of quite shocking and obviously a deal breaker.
So, I don't know. Yeah, overall, the feelings that I want to feel when I am connecting with a potential romantic partner, the feelings that I want to feel are safe, comfortable, playful, relaxed, adventurous, seen, and understood, or at least they try to understand, try to connect, But as far as looks go, for me, I have been attracted to a variety of different kind of person. It is more about like obviously general attraction, like if they take care of themselves and if they like, I don't know, if they look attractive.
But for me, it's kind of a like one by one case. Like, I either am attracted to somebody or I'm not. And usually I have to like spend time with somebody in order to find that out, because it's something about the energy and the essence, you know? Probably need to hang out with somebody like 2 or 3 times before I know if I'm attracted to them. So, yeah.
Hopefully that was interesting in some way. Let me know if you have any questions or other topics that you like me to talk about on my ASMR podcast. And yeah, hopefully I didn't miss anything, because again, I was just kind of winging this,